welcome to another exciting Ripple podcast session. This side, Goldie Bhargav, business developer at Ripple. Today with us, we have a special guest for this podcast, Ms. Sane Balkinson from Hypernode. As we all know that the Magento is an open source free e-commerce platform which allow you to sell quickly in order to provide the best user experience to your customers and for the best performance and security measures, whether you are a big business, a mid-sized business, or a small startup, you need to take the consideration of the hosting. So today's session will be revolving around the Magento and the hosting concepts. So let's take the things forward and meet the guest of the session, Ms. Sane Balkinson. So hi, Sane, how are you?
Hi, Gauri. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so Sene, before starting with the session, before starting with the questions, I would like to know about you and the Hypernode.
Okay, cool. So I've been working with Hypernode for almost 6 years. I started there as a sales and account manager, and currently I'm managing the marketing and sales department.
Okay.
Hypernode is an e-commerce hosting platform. We started as a general open source platform for WordPress or Drupal or Magento, the like applications. But as we progressed through time, we really specialized on e-commerce, Magento specifically, and that's why we built the Hypernode platform. And we're now expanding globally, so we're also actively searching clients in other markets than our home market, which is the Netherlands.
Nice. We were just doing this podcast session to give a view of hosting because it is the question of, because as a business developer, we get many requests from the customers regarding queries and clarification they need to ask about the hosting. Like, we want to start up our business, so what about the hosting? So I think this session will be for them, for the retailers. So let's start with the questions for the session. So as you know, Magento when is going to end. It is ended in the past. They are stopped doing the support giving the support for the Magento 1.
Yeah.
So what do you think that will it be a good for the Magento 2 or how the Magento 2 future will be going as the Magento 1 is ended completely now? They are not giving any type of support.
Yeah, I think e-commerce as a business has really matured over the years. So whereas Magento 1, when it started, e-commerce was really just hitting ground anywhere. And you can also see that the way that it was built and also the customers that were running on it, really there was a lot of variation. So it was like very small shops on the somewhere in the attic of a house up to enterprise plus customers. But as the markets has matured, I think the need for a more mature platform also grew, and that is Magento 2. So I think Magento 2 is more has a lot more features than Magento 1. Also, price-wise, it requires more of an investment than Magento 1. So definitely some of the customers that were like on the bottom end of Magento 1 will not be able to migrate to Magento 2 because of the investment involved. But then you also see that they're also gaining ground towards more of the upper side of the market. So I think in general, Magento still has a pretty strong position for like SMB plus to enterprise level customers.
Absolutely. Also, I have visited, I'm gone through your website and I was just saw a blog regarding that you guys are going to provide the Magento 1 support.
Yeah.
You are going to support the hosting for that. So you would like to tell about me something about that?
So as a hosting company, we never really require our customers to run a specific type of software, except that the underlying service software needs to be updated to a safe version. So when it comes to PHP, for instance, if you can run a Magento 1 store on PHP 7.3, we will definitely keep you on there. We do say that as Magento 1 is no longer supported, a lot of the systems that surround Magento 1 are not supported either. So during time, it will become harder and harder to provide safe servers software for hosting Magento 1 shops. And this is a continuous dialogue that we have with our partners and clients, where as security is very important for us. We do want to be able to maintain those, the software on our service up to date.
Yes, because basically each and everyone wants to have a secure platform.
Of
They
course.
want to run their business on a security, and if security is going to be like threatened because of anything, so they will definitely want to switch to Magento 2.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So the next question would be like, what are your views towards the Magento 2 for small and for the large business, medium scale retailers? Not for the large one, for the small and for the medium one. So
Yeah.
what are your views towards that?
So first of all, it really depends on how we define small and medium size, because our experience here in the Netherlands is that some of the clients that we see as enterprise in other markets like the US are really considered to be small. So there's a difference of opinion on that, of course. As I said before, the initial investment to build a Magento 2 shop is higher than Magento 1. But we also see that a lot of our partners are really working towards tailoring Magento 2 to the smaller and mid-size clients. For instance, you will have to sacrifice some of your liberty, so choose templates, for instance, to work from. But then still, Magento 2 could be a very affordable and fitting solution for small and mid-sized clients.
Okay. Okay. So, what do you think that shop owners, why they should basically that they should take it seriously regarding the security measures of
Yeah.
their shop, and what they can do about that to
Yeah.
have it secure?
Yeah. So what we see is that a lot of shop owners are really focusing on performance, as that is, of course, the most visible aspect of your shop. But we do stress the importance of security. One, because you're legally obliged to do so. So a lot of countries have put the responsibility for the data that you collect in your shop in the hands of the shop owners. So if there's a breach of security, you have to report it to the authorities, and fees could be involved. But more importantly, I would say is that you are also judged upon your security by, for instance, Google. So Google, of course, checks algorithms for the performance of your shop, but also security. And therefore, if you don't have your security up to date, it could result into lower results in Google, which of course affects the visitors that will come to your shop. And then, of course, also the trust that your clients have in your web shop. If there's a breach of security and this becomes publicly known, this could affect your business and, of course, also your profit margins. So what you can do is work with professional parties. Like your technical implementation partners should know Magento and should have some sort of track record of security measures. For instance, by providing a maintenance report contract, making sure that they update the software that you're using on your shop regularly, so that you're never running on outdated software. And of course, when choosing a hosting company, make sure that they are also known for security, and take the necessary precautions to make sure that their servers are always secure and up to date.
Well, nice about that. Okay, so the next question would be like that. What do you think that Magento is best suited for? We can say like to hold down the number of SKU or the traffic.
Yeah, so this is a difficult question because it really depends on the way that the shop is built. We're hosting 2,500 clients at the moment, so we see there's a lot of variety in the way that the shops are built, and that really affects like the amount of products that you can have in store or the amount of visitors that you can accommodate. That having said, we do see that if you have all the necessary precautions in place, so you are using a product information management system, for instance, and you have all the caching on in your shop, then you should be able to have up to 1 million products in your Magento store, and you should be able to have more than 1,000 simultaneous visitors.
Okay, thank you for that. It will be really helpful for the retailer because they actually ask us that how much the Magento can hold.
Yeah.
If I'm having 1 million of products, so is it Magento worth for that? Can it hold that? So maybe a question of yours will be really helpful for them.
Yeah,
so
it's possible.
Yeah, maybe possible. Yeah. So the next question that how do you ensure about the scalable hosting with little or like no downtime?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I would say scalability is one of the key features that, as an e-commerce hosting provider, you need to provide your customers. As of course, traffic really fluctuates throughout the year, so you have regular peaks in visitors, but you also have at times when traffic's much lower. And ideally, you would like to scale your resources according to those peaks. So don't want like a static environment where you pay most of the year for a huge overkill on resources just to accommodate those few peaks that you have throughout the year. So for us, this is of course also a challenge because it's always possible to move to a bigger server or get extra server resources, but this usually involves a migration, change of IP, and therefore downtime. So what we have done on our platform is one that we have floating IPs. So if you move from one of our plans to another one, you keep the same IP, which really lowers the chance of you having downtime. And then for our bigger plans, so from the 2XL plan and onwards, we have the same disk size. So then when you upgrade, there's no actual migration. It's we keep the same disk, but we just add more RAM and CPU under that disk. And therefore, there will be a small hiccup when we attach this RAM and CPU to the volume, but it's around a minute downtime. And therefore, we always advise our clients when a peak season is coming, like Black Friday is coming, just go to our 2XL plan. It will probably be enough. But if not, you can actually real-time scale extra resources without going down. And therefore, you can keep accommodating all those visitors and therefore, of course, going for maximum profit margins that day or that period.
Yeah, that will be great. That will be great because it is not possible for each and everyone to change or to take the higher plans if they are not having that kind of budget. But maybe some kind of resources they can scale up to. So it will be really great for them.
Yeah, and a lot of our customers are very happy with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
They should be happy about this.
Yeah.
And for the customer who are viewing this podcast session, if you are having any sort of query or clarification, so you just can comment down below. So one of our team members will be going to help you out and will help you faster and better. So let's move into the next question about the session. What do you think that the demand is increasing for the serverless architecture? What do you think that the Magento as a serviceless architecture in particular?
I think serverless is a bit of a misconception because any software needs eventually servers to run on. So it's really not possible to have software not run on anything. What you can do is, of course, limit the amount of control that you have. So if you say, okay, I only want to pay for compute time, for instance, so all of the rest can be taken care of by a company like Amazon. That is, of course, a solution, but in the end, I think the difference between that and a managed hosting solution like we provide is not that big. But the difference is that for us, in our case, you as a customer or your technical maintenance partner has access to the server and can also make necessary changes. So therefore, of course, this is preaching for my own church, but I would say that serverless is not necessarily the way forward for Magento.
Okay, so let's move to the another question. So as this one is like my favorite one, I want to know about this. As you know that the headless framework is a hot item. If we are taking in the e-commerce development landscape, the headless is something which is new, which everyone wants to know about. What is that? So what do you think that replacing the complete front end with the headless with Java-based framework? What do you think of that?
I think it could work for some clients, as Magento is generally known more for the back end than the front end, and there's other solutions that are much better at front end than Magento is. But then again, there's also an investment involved with this, so it could be a quite costly solution, and you might wonder if you're not over-engineering your shop. You have like an SMB plus sized company. Magento generally will be able to fit your needs, and just changing things or adding things might just add extra costs that are not necessarily reflecting on your on the return in revenue. But from a hosting perspective, it doesn't matter that much. Of course, it could reduce a little bit the necessity for resources. But as Magento is relying heavily on the back end and the processes running in it, that's what the core of our product is aimed towards, and that's of course not the main thing. So I don't know what the future might hold, but for now, I would say just be aware of the costs and really be critical. So if you actually need to make that investment.
Okay, great. So the last question
okay.
I'm going to ask you is about what are the factors you think that by which retailers can save the cost while hosting or by making the on the cloud. So what do you think of that?
I think it really depends on how you see hosting, if you see it as a cost or as an investment, because there is a wide range of variety when it comes to hosting your Magento shop. So you could find solutions that will host a shop for like 10 euros a month, and you can find solutions that will charge like thousands of euros a month. But as I always say, when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So just if you pay very little, just be aware that you cannot really expect that much when it comes to like scalability or stability, performance, and security, which are really like the key factors for your online success when you run a business. So I would really recommend that go to a Magento specialized hosting company that takes care of all these things and can actually help you grow as a business. And then there's still a lot of difference, of course, when there's also a wide variety when it comes to Magento specialized hosting companies. But then I would say really look at what you pay for. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a static solution, it might be very possible that you pay for resources you're not using. So it differs, of course, per hosting company if they provide insight in it or not, but they should allow you access to that information when you request it. So for us, instance, we have Maze Report, which is a security tool that is widely used. As a customer, we also provide insights from the server side, so you can see how many resources you are using, what percentage of GPU you are using, for instance, and therefore also if it's a good idea to upgrade or downgrade or just stay on the plan you are. And thereby you're really only paying for what you need. And that is, of course, my advice for customers if you're looking for cost. Just make sure you invest enough in your shop, but don't pay for things you don't use.
Yeah, well said. Because Magento is a kind of a platform which I think if a retailer is wanting a business to like a long run business, so they have to choose Magento. And when it comes to hosting, so the reliable, the scalable hosting company, they should choose, and the things which they provide, they have to take them into consideration and then have to decide upon them. So, okay, thank you so much for that. And
you're welcome.
I have to tell you that it was our pleasure that you, in such a short time, you said that you are well okay with this podcast session to be going live. And that is, thank you so much for your valuable time, for sparing the time for this podcast session. It would be really a great thing for us. And okay, and I would also like to kind of invite you, because in 2021, we are trying to get the things more for the community. It is not possible this year because of the viruses, you know. So in the 2021, we are hoping to do some big Magento events in the India itself. So we are kind of inviting you right now. We want to meet you in person, and we want that as the community events are attended by a lot of attendees, which are like the retailers or the enthusiasts or the new beginners who want to know about the Magento itself. So it would be great if you come to the person and tell something about the host, because as it is a very important part to start up any kind of business. So it's very great for the event as well as great for the Hypernode, as well as you can meet a lot of queries and customers there.
Ooh.
So
I really look forward to traveling again once that's possible. So,
Yeah, come on.
and I've never been
Come
to
on.
India, so I'd love
Yeah,
to go see it.
it would be very great. You can come to India. You can go to many places. We have many places to go around and just
Yeah,
have gone through it, hang out there and everyone. So it's a great country. You can come and visit.
that sounds exciting. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you so much. So with this, I think I'm going to end this session with thank you so much again, and thanks for your time and have a great day ahead. Thank you,
You're
Sunny,
welcome.
for your
You
time.
too.